अपने जहाँ हम लोग रहते हैं वहाँ ना आने दिया जाए, क्योंकि अगर हमारे डॉग से कुछ हैपनिंग होती है तो हम उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेंगे, बाहर के डॉग्स की हम रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं लेंगे। हम अपनी जान ही गंवा रहे हैं और कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं।
इंडिया में लॉज स्ट्रिक्ट नहीं है। बाहर की कंट्रीज में स्ट्रे डॉग्स ऐसे बिल्कुल नहीं घूमते हैं। बाहर की कंट्रीज में उनको ले जाया जाता है एक वैन में, उनको एक जगह बंद किया जाता है, 2 हफ्ते का टाइम दिया जाता है कि अगर आप अडॉप्ट करना चाहते हो तो आप अडॉप्ट करो, अगर नहीं करना चाहते तो उनको पुट आउट कर दिया जाता है। स्ट्रे डॉग्स किसी भी कंट्री में इतना खुला नहीं घूमते हैं। तो इंडियन गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रही है, लॉज क्या बना रही है, सिटीजन सेफ हैं कि नहीं, वो आप देख सकते हो।
हमारे यहाँ डॉग इशू इतना बढ़ चुका है कि हम ना दिन में सेफ है ना रात में सेफ है, ना हमारे बच्चे सेफ है ना हम सेफ हैं। डॉग्स ये नहीं देख रहे हैं कि वो बच्चे के पीछे भाग रहे हैं या बड़े के पीछे भाग रहे हैं, वो सिर्फ काटते हैं।
आगे ये घटना न हो, इसके लिए हम सभी लोगों को देखिए मिलके प्रयास करना है। और उसी के क्रम में हम लोगों ने कार्रवाई शुरू की। पहले हमने स्टरलाइजेशन शुरू किया, दूसरे पे फिर हमने ये शुरू किया कि अगर डॉग बाइट कोई डॉग जो है बार बार काट रहा है तो उसको जो है ले जाके शेल्टर होम में रखना और 1 महीने तक उसको सुधारना और उसके बाद वापस छोड़ना। चूंकि माननीय न्यायालय के ऐसी गाइडलाइंस हैं, हम कुत्ते को पूरी तरीके से कहीं से भी डिस्पोजेस नहीं कर सकते हैं। ये देखिए, हम आप जो है गुस्सा होना एक अलग बात है, लेकिन किसी भी नियम कानून से इतर जाके हम लोग कोई चीज नहीं कर सकते हैं।
Good evening, you're watching The Nation at 5 right here on CNN News 18. I am Ridhima Bhatnagar. Straight to our top focus. There is no end to targeted killings in the valley. Days after a Kashmiri Pandit was shot dead by terrorists in South Kashmir's Shopian, now 2 lone locals from Uttar Pradesh have also been killed in a targeted grenade attack in the Herman area of Shopian district. They were reportedly sleeping while the attack happened. The police have now arrested 2 terrorists who lobbed this grenade. According to the police, one of the arrested persons has now been identified as Imran Bashir. He's a hybrid terrorist of the proscribed terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba. In the backdrop, the state investigation agency is also carrying out raids in South Kashmir's Pulwama in connection with the civilian killings as well as terror financing. Now, former J&K Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah on Monday blamed the abrogation of Article 370 and also the influx of quote-unquote outsiders for the increase in targeted killings in the valley.
I'm standing in front of that shed where those 2 laborers from Kanuj of UP were killed last evening. Now, we're picking up from police and eyewitnesses that these people were packing apples in those apple boxes when a grenade was hurled at around 12 in the dead of the night, and these people were lying here and they got grievously injured, were taken to the hospital where they succumbed to their wounds. Now, some time back, the ADG of Kashmir, Vijay Kumar, did say that 2 people stand arrested in this connection. One of them happens to be Imran Bashir Ganai, who actually threw the grenade, and he seemed to have confessed, according to ADG, about throwing a grenade here, which resulted in the death of those 2 people. You'll clearly see what is happening is that apples are lying around, and in fact, when that incident happened, those 2 people were taken to the hospital. However, they succumbed to their wounds. Clearly now we're picking up that there's also an accomplice of this particular hybrid militant who has now been arrested, and police is really looking for more clues.
क्या करने गए थे वहाँ?
सेव का काम करने गए थे।
कितने दिन पहले गए थे?
28 अगस्त को गए थे, करीब 2 महीना हो गए।
और कौन गया था उनके साथ?
कम से कम 17 आदमी गए इनके साथ, पापा के साथ, और बाकी के गए 15-16 और गए हैं।
कैसे मालूम पड़ा, अभी क्या सूचना मिली?
यही सूचना मिली कि न्यूज पे आया था, तब सूचना मिली। फिर मैंने फोन किया उनके पास, बोले कि कौन घायल है वो है, फिर बाद में फोन किया कि खत्म हो गए।
31 मई को हमारी रजनी बल्ला बहन जी की शहादत हो जाती है, सिविल किलिंग हो जाती है, तब हम सब लोग डर जाते हैं। कश्मीर से सारे एम्प्लॉइज जितने भी डिपार्टमेंट में काम करते हैं सारे के सारे जहाँ पे आ जाते हैं और हम तब से लेकर कंटिन्यू धरना दे रहे हैं और दिन प्रतिदिन मतलब कि कश्मीर के हालात बदतर होते जा रहे हैं। तो यही हम दरख्वास्त करना चाहते हैं गवर्नमेंट से, बार बार 140 दिनों से करते आ रहे हैं। एलजी साहब से हमने यही गुहार लाई है कि हमें जम्मू से कश्मीर से जम्मू को ट्रांसफर किया जाए, सिविल के लिए रोकने के लिए आगे आए और इंसानियत की हिफाजत करें।
140 दिनों से यहाँ पर धरना कर रहे हैं और यही गुहार ला रहे हैं कि जान जो है हमारी बचाई जाए, मगर एलजी साहब हो चाहे डिबकम हो वो लगातार ऑर्डर निकाल रहे हैं कि हम ड्यूटी रिज्यूम की जाए। आखिर कितनी लाशें भर के आप वहाँ से लाएंगे?
ये आज की बात नहीं है। टारगेट किलिंग का सिलसिला वहाँ 1 साल से शुरू है और 1 साल से हम कहते ही आ रहे हैं राम राज्य के हिंदुत्व के बड़े बड़े वादे किए जाते हैं सरकार की तरफ से। क्या ये है हिंदू राष्ट्र?
एक बार फिर से निशाना बनाया गया है मासूम लोगों को, क्या कुछ कहना चाहिए?
देखिए, ये बहुत ही दर्दनाक है और बड़ा खतरनाक है। पिछले कुछ अरसे से और खास करके जब से जम्मू कश्मीर को यूटी बन गया तब से तो केंद्रीय गृह मंत्रालय इसकी सुरक्षा को, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को देखता है, लेकिन तब से ही टारगेट किलिंग जो है वो उनका सिलसिला शुरू हुआ। 30 साल की पीक मिलिटेंसी में जो लोग वहाँ पे रहते थे, कश्मीरी पंडित थे या दूसरे लोग थे, वो लोग जो है वो टारगेट नहीं हुए, वो मारे नहीं गए। लेकिन क्या वजह है कि पिछले 1.5-2 साल से इस तरह की टारगेटेड किलिंग जो है वो बरकरार जारी हैं। ये क्यों 2019 के बाद या 20 के बाद पिछले 2 साल के अंदर ये लोग टारगेट किए जा रहे हैं, शहीद किए जा रहे हैं? इसके पीछे एक मंसूबा भी है और कोई वजह भी है।
और कहीं ना कहीं जो बयानबाजी भी आती है कश्मीरी लीडरों की तरफ से, उससे भी वो लोग काफी ज्यादा कहीं ना कहीं प्रवोक होते हैं और इस तरह की वारदातें करते हैं।
कश्मीर के लीडर तो कुछ लोग तो उनके समर्थन में बयान दे सकते हैं, लेकिन उकसाने के वाले बयान तो भाजपा वाले देते हैं। वो कहते हैं सब कुछ नॉर्मल कर दिया हमने, तो 370 तोड़ने के बाद, सब कुछ करने के बाद कश्मीर जो है वो बिल्कुल सुधर गया है।
ये कभी बंद नहीं होगा, जब तक इंसाफ नहीं होगा कभी बंद नहीं होगा। और इसको बंद करने के लिए जितनी भी शोर करते हैं, ये कहते हैं कि जब बहुत कहते थे पहले 370 से ये हो रहा, आज तो 370 नहीं है, मेरी क्यों मृत्यु हो रही है? इसके जिम्मेवार कौन है? अगर वो बेहतर कर दिया तो फिर ये पंडित बेचारा मारा नहीं जाता। कहाँ है हालत बेहतर? मुझे तो नहीं दिखता।
To tackle these targeted killings, now we're understanding J&K BJP President Ravinder Raina has constituted a committee of BJP leaders for meaningful solutions over the issues of Kashmiri Pandits and the reserved categories of employees serving in the Kashmir Valley. We'll try and get more details as to who all are part of this committee. I believe my colleague Tejinder is now joining us on the broadcast. Tejinder, first things first, who all are part as far as this committee is concerned?
You see, this committee has been formed by the J&K president of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Ravinder Raina, and as per the order or the press release which Ravinder Raina has issued, it says that with a view to arriving at meaningful solution or a way out of the issue of Kashmiri Pandit, that is the PM package and non-PM package, as well as all reserved category employees serving in Kashmir division, Bharatiya Janata Party, Jammu and Kashmir hereby constitutes a committee comprising following members. These members include Dr. Nirmal Singh, who is the chairman of this committee, and he happens to be the former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. The other members are Dr. Davinder Kumar Manyal, who is a former cabinet minister in Jammu and Kashmir, and the other members are Ajay Bharti, Chandji Butt and Hira Lal Butt. We are being told that this committee will hold a dialogue with the protesting Kashmiri Pandit employees. They will also hold a dialogue with the all reserved category employees who have been protesting for over 150 days. These people, they have been demanding relocation to Jammu. They have been saying that they are becoming sitting duck on fire in Kashmir because terrorists have been targeting them. So this committee will hold dialogue with them and arrive at a meaningful solution to address their grievances. Yes.
Okay, Tejinder, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let me also now bring in our guest to take this discussion forward. We have Amit Raina. He's a Kashmiri activist. He's also spokesperson Roots in Kashmir. We also have Adnan Malik. He's a political analyst. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Amit Raina, let me begin with you. Over the last 1 year, me and you had several chats, and every time the same question that we try and address, which is, we all know what the problems are. You know, members of the Kashmiri Pandits and their families, people on the ground, they've all been saying one thing: we want rehabilitation, and we want rehabilitation now before it's too late. Where really is the problem, considering the fact there is no end to these targeted killings?
See, what was worrying from 2019 onwards itself was a change in Pakistan. Are large in the Kashmir. There has on minority community.
Okay, you know, Amit, we'll just try and fix that audio with you. We seem to be having a bit of an issue. In the meantime, let me take that same question into Adnan also. Adnan, you know, if we thought we are seeing a new chapter post the abrogation of Article 370, and there is no denying the fact that there has been a big change, there has been change as far as jobs, economy and business is concerned. But what about the problem as far as these targeted killings are concerned? The messaging that these terrorists are trying to send out is very clear, that you instill a sense of fear so that these people leave the valley and go back. What is the problem, and why is it so difficult to tackle it?
There's a video problem. I'm just unable to see the video right now.
Okay. Okay, we'll just give you the video, but we can hear you. So if you want to make your point, we can hear you.
After the application of the Article 370, there is a lot of promise given by the government, central government, that there is security issues and other development issues. But the main thing is that there is a loophole in the security system. That is why there is a continuous killing of these people, especially Kashmiri Pandit people. So we are having the very strong security personnel, very trained security persons, but we are solely which central government should have to accept that there is a problem of lacking security. There is loophole in the security system that the central government is fully failed to fulfill this. They are just forcing the Kashmiri Pandit people to walk into the Kashmir despite their demand that kindly send us to the safer places. There is a lot of Kashmiri people who wrote letter to the central government that kindly we are not in a safer position. Kindly transfer us into a safer position. But government did not heard them properly. They're just saying, giving them assurance.
Amit, what is causing the delay? Why is the government unable to give this rehabilitation? While I understand that personal protection to each on the ground is almost an impossible task, but as far as rehabilitation is concerned, that seems to be the constant ask from people on the ground who say that we fear that we are sitting ducks today and we could be next. What is causing the delay as far as this rehabilitation is concerned?
See, as I was saying earlier, that post-abrogation of Article 370, Pakistan changed its strategy in Kashmir. They, instead of attacking security forces or doing large flying attacks, they started identifying soft targets and attacking them and killing them. And the most soft targets in the Kashmir Valley are the Hindus, the laborers, and the Kashmiri Pandit community. Now, what is more worrying is that the government has accepted this as new normal. Otherwise, you would have not seen 3 killings happening in 2 days in Shopian. And no action being taken against the failure of the district administration, especially the district police officers. So their unfortunate part, it seems, is that government has now started accepting the killings as new normals. And in that mindset, they are not willing to listen to the employees who are now feeling threatened in Kashmir. There are ego issues which are coming in there. There has not been an invitation to speak to them and find a middle way, middle path. And even today, while the government wants PM package employees to come back, there is no guarantee on the safety. There are bond taken from these employees that they are responsible for their lives in Kashmir. So how does an employee get confidence if government is not willing to take responsibility? You need to understand, the Kashmir Valley today, apart from the PM package employees, has only 2700
Sure.
Kashmiri Pandits. So if you are not able to guarantee safety to this 2700 Kashmiri Pandits, it will become more difficult for you as and when numbers start growing. So I think the first and foremost is that government needs to figure out the ecosystem that is still prevalent in Kashmir, which allows these terrorists to come out from hiding.
No, but to be fair, Amit, as far as the security personnel on the ground are concerned, they've also now found a way to tackle this new way of attacks that we are seeing. As you rightly pointed out earlier, the targets used to be security personnel or officials on the ground. Now you're seeing a change of pattern, but the security officials on the ground are giving it back. I mean, just look at what's happened in the last 24 hours. You have 2 arrests that have already been made. What is also worrying is the module that is being adopted by these terrorists themselves. These are hybrid terrorists. This is also a new module for the security personnel to tackle. Do you think that's where the lag is, that it's taking a bit to understand the kind of module or the functioning of these terrorists today?
See, if they are hybrid terrorists or hybrid modules in place, that means there is an ecosystem still available for them within the system to come out, attack, kill and go back into hiding without being identified. So one has to acknowledge that the ecosystem, in spite of all success that security forces have achieved in last 3 years, including killing more than 1,000 terrorists, arresting thousands of separatists, tracking employees which are the ecosystem still is available to these guys to come and attack. So you have to identify and break that ecosystem. Second, one needs to understand that the moment someone steps into jihad, the moment he picks up gun in Kashmir, he has already committed himself to the death.
Absolutely.
So the moment he's killed, there is someone else standing behind him to replace him. So the entire chain of replacement needs to be broken. So that thought process comes from jihad ideology. That process comes from the radicalization that is happening in the valley. Government has been too slow on attacking radicalization. It's only last month they identified 4 hardline Maulvis and arrested them. That is after 3 years of application of Article 370. And there are hundreds of such Maulvis in Valley who are staying in madrasas.
But the other problem also, Amit, is not just in terms of the success that the security officials on the ground are getting, but also the kind of responses that we're seeing from politicians of the valley themselves, like from many from the Gupkar Alliance, Farooq Abdullah and others who still continue to blame the abrogation of Article 370. You won't have them taking a hard line on Pakistan. You won't have them taking a hard line as far as these hybrid terrorists are concerned. And they continue to blame the influx of outsiders. Then that entire initiative that is also being played out in the valley becomes negated. But we're also getting some piece of development, breaking developments also now coming in. Let's just take that and take a final word from Adnan as well. We now understanding terror outfit TRF, a front of the LET, is saying that the attacks on outsiders will continue. It's almost an open threat that is now being given that this attack, this pattern that we are seeing will still continue on outsiders. Adnan, how do you see this open threat? What will result in ending this?
Due to the unavailability of this video, I can't respond properly. Can you allow me to see this video first? There's a lot of problem of audio also.
Okay, Adnan, I seem to be having some issue with your audio and video once again, but I'll give 30 seconds to Amit to take that. Look at that statement that's coming in. It's a clear open threat. What's giving them this kind of confidence to even make a statement like this?
Pakistan will continue to do the action it wants to do in Kashmir and to be doing for 70 years. That is their part. It is how proactively we and the state, that is we is the state, defeats that idea. And look at the way the cover is being given by the political parties of Jammu and Kashmir. They almost go to the extent of justifying the killing of Kashmiri Hindus, non-local laborers, and they give a cover. How can anyone justify a violence? There is no way you can justify violence, whatever your grievances may be. If justification of violence, then Kashmiri Pandit should have killed hundreds and thousands of Muslims.
Correct.
If that is the logic. So they are still trying to cater to the segment in the valley, which is hardliner, which is pro-Jamaat, which is pro-Pakistan. And they still believe, unfortunately, that the people of Jammu and Kashmir will ignore development and choose religion for their living, which I think they are living in a fool's paradise.
Okay, unfortunately, I'll have to leave the conversation there. Amit and Adnan, pleasure speaking to both of you. We're shifting our focus to the other big story that we're tracking this evening. A Pakistani delegate attending the 90th Interpol General Assembly was confronted by News18 on Pakistan sheltering Dawood Ibrahim. The delegate refused to make any comment on Dawood's presence. Remember, Dawood is a designated global terrorist and the UN Security Council had mentioned his last location is Karachi. While the Pakistani representative was silent on Dawood, it is important to note that Dawood's last issued passport was also Pakistani.
सारे देश मिलकर सर क्या दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में लगातार सर इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे बात मानी जा रही है कि दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में है, कराची में क्लिप्टन रोड पे रहते हैं। आप पाकिस्तान डेलीगेशन से हैं सर, क्या कहना चाहेंगे, आपकी प्रतिक्रिया इसमें सर? कैसे सारे देश मिलकर सर क्या दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में लगातार सर इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे बात मानी जा रही है कि दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में है, कराची में क्लिप्टन रोड पे रहते हैं। आप पाकिस्तान डेलीगेशन से हैं सर, क्या कहना चाहेंगे, आपकी प्रतिक्रिया इसमें सर? कैसे सारे देश मिलकर सर क्या दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में लगातार सर इंटरनेशनल फोरम पे बात मानी जा रही है कि दाऊद इब्राहिम पाकिस्तान में है, कराची में क्लिप्टन रोड पे रहते हैं। आप पाकिस्तान डेलीगेशन से हैं सर, क्या कहना चाहेंगे, आपकी प्रतिक्रिया इसमें सर?
Let me also now bring in my colleague from News18 India. Anand Tiwari is joining us on the broadcast. Anand, हमने सुना शंकर आनंद ने काफ़ी कोशिश करी पूछने के लिए पाकिस्तानी डेलीगेट से कि दाऊद क्या पाकिस्तान में है, उन्होंने कोई जवाब नहीं दिया, वो चलते गए। बट काफ़ी लोग कहेंगे क्या हमें शुड वी बी इवन सरप्राइज, ये तो एक्सपेक्टेड था।
जी देखिए, मैंने खुद अपने मोबाइल से ये वीडियो बनाया है और हम चूंकि उस अधिवेशन में मौजूद था, मैं खुद, और हमने नेटवर्क 18 की तरफ से जब मिस्टर मोहसिन के पास मैं पहुंचा और हमने उनसे पूछा कि पाकिस्तान में दाऊद इब्राहिम रहते हैं और क्लिप्टन रोड पर जो उनका व्हाइट हाउस है वो है, उस पर मिस्टर मोहसिन चुप्पी साध गए। ना उन्होंने यस कहा ना उन्होंने नो कहा। इसका सीधा मतलब ये है कि पाकिस्तान के पास दाऊद इब्राहिम को लेकर कोई जवाब नहीं है और मिस्टर मोहसिन की चुप्पी ये बताती है कि दाऊद इब्राहिम के मसले पर पाकिस्तान कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता है, क्योंकि इंटरनेशनल फोरम पर भारत की सुरक्षा एजेंसियों ने, रॉ ने, आईबी ने और इंटरनेशनल एजेंसियों ने ये बात सरकारी दस्तावेजों के साथ जाहिर करी थी कि पाकिस्तान अपनी पत्नी महजबीन के साथ कराची के क्लिप्टन रोड पर रहता है और पाकिस्तान के जो रिटायर्ड पुलिस अफसर हैं या जो आईएसआई के जो अधिकारी हैं या जो आर्मी के जो कुछ रिटायर्ड पुलिस फोर्स के जवान हैं वो दाऊद इब्राहिम की सुरक्षा में मौजूद होते हैं। क्योंकि देखिए, ये 90वां इंटरपोल का एक अधिवेशन था जिसकी 25 साल बाद भारत मेजबानी कर रहा है। जब भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी इस कॉन्फ्रेंस को एड्रेस कर रहे थे तो उन्होंने एक सुर में कहा कि आतंकवाद एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है, ग्लोबल टेररिज्म, और उसको लेकर तमाम देशों को एकजुट होना होगा। जैसे ही प्रधानमंत्री की स्पीच खत्म होती है, मैं खुद जो मिस्टर मोहसिन जिस चेयर पर बैठे हुए थे उनके साथ एक पाकिस्तान के और अधिकारी थे, हम लोग वहां पहुंचे और हमने अपने कैमरा ऑन करके सीधा सवाल दागना जो है वो पाकिस्तान के जो मिस्टर मोहसिन है, जो एक अधिकारी हैं, उनसे हमने जब सवाल पूछा तो वो मुस्कुराते रहे और वो बार बार अपनी उंगली अपने मुंह पर रख रहे थे और उनका कोई भी उन्होंने जवाब नहीं दिया। ये चुप्पी बताती है कि दाऊद इब्राहिम या जो और आतंकवादी हैं, हाफिज सईद जैसे, जो पाकिस्तान में पनाह लिए हुए हैं, जिन्हें पाकिस्तान की सरपरस्ती मिली हुई है, उनके मुद्दे पर, उनके मसले पर लगातार पाकिस्तान जो है वो बेनकाब होता गया है और पाकिस्तान के पास दाऊद इब्राहिम या हाफिज सईद जैसे आतंकवादियों के लिए, ग्लोबल टेररिस्टों के लिए कोई जवाब नहीं होता है।
जी आनंद, थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर गेटिंग अस ऑल दोस डिटेल्स। Well, we'll keep tracking all these developments. For now, we're slipping into a very short break. For the second candidate who still possibly feels he has a fair shot as far as the elections are concerned, and more importantly, what does it feel as far as the election process is concerned? If you do have a backing, why not keep it to yourself till the time the elections are over? But RP Singh, let me bring you in the conversation. The Congress is saying this is an internal process for us. At least we have one. The BJP doesn't even have one.
Well, they are not aware of the BJP internal processes. We have elections every 3 years, and then our party president is elected through a process of election from the polling booth to the national level. There's a complete process for that. But yes, they are holding this after almost 24 years.
Can you tell us the process?
Did I interrupt you, man? Did I hold on? Hold your gun. Hold your gun.
Can you please tell us the
gun.
process? Let the country know.
Hold
Let
your
the
gun,
country
man.
know.
Please.
Our process is known to everybody. How about BJP's process, sir? Can you please elaborate? We are not aware of it, but Congress process is aware by everybody. We've been doing press conferences. We've been telling everybody. We're telling our delegates. Can you please tell us how the BJP does that, sir, so that everything is fair and transparent? If you're so bold and so confident, every 3 years you have election or whatever, you do it. Let us hear it, sir.
Okay.
Let me also learn.
I hope this anarchist attitude which they have got to rub off with Aam Aadmi Party will not happen again.
Okay. Dr. Ronika, I have limited time. I have to go to the other guests also. RP Singh, quickly.
So we have a process, we go through that process, and we don't need to make it public. It's a process which happens. But what about the Congress party? This is happening after 24 years when there was nothing of this sort happened in the last 24 years. Stop. Anarchism is bad, man. I mean, you have a rub off of Aam Aadmi Party. Stop anarchism. Stop anarchism. You have proven to be are going to be part of the urban
Okay, let's not get personal. Dr. Ronika, it's not going to be fair to the panelists, and it's not going to be fair to the debate as well. The larger question that is still being raised is this, and I want to bring in Advaita in the discussion. The larger question that is being raised is, at a time when you have a host of leaders coming out and backing Mallikarjun Kharge, the message that is being sent out is that this is a man who's seen close to the Gandhis, and that means the key decisions still will be taken by the Gandhis. You can have an election, you can have anybody at the helm, but the key decisions will still be with the Gandhis.
Yes, I think this was an opportunity for the Congress to have two conversations. One was a conversation within themselves, which is to say that, yes, we're having an election after 24 years. Yes, we're going to have somebody who is a non-Gandhi standing for election. And they seem to have carried out on both of those promises. More than 9,000 people, delegates turned up for the election. That does offer it a certain amount of sanctity as far as the interior dialogue of the Congress party is concerned. Now, the second conversation that they needed to have was to have with the general public, who were observing this when they were not observing the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and when they were not observing the Bharat Jodo Yatra, they were watching what happened in Rajasthan. So the Congress was really cannibalizing its own media space, so to speak. And today, AAP cannibalized that media space with their whole impromptu rally as Sisodia went to the CBI headquarters, whilst Sonia Gandhi was casting her vote. So I think, there is this scramble for attention with the public and have that conversation with the public, because this accusation of being a privately held firm and run by a dynasty has hit the Congress hard, and they needed to break away from that. Unfortunately, has this process delivered on that for the public? Are the public looking at this process as something that was equitable, that offered a level playing field? No, they're not, because it's there for everyone to see what's going on. You just have to listen to the candidates themselves, listen to what Dr. Shashi Tharoor had to say. I mean, Pradesh Congress Committee presidents were not really keen on meeting him. He didn't feel like he was offered a level playing field.
So that's a fair point that Advaita is making, and I want to take on from that to Rashid. Has this been a missed opportunity for the Congress? Why are they so adverse as far as change is concerned? Because if you look at what Mallikarjun Kharge represents, he is a man, quote unquote, who will still possibly have the older ideology, somewhat a comfort zone to the Gandhis, in sharp contrast to change of Shashi Tharoor. So basically, it's just going to be the same game, but just a new packaging.
Yeah, Ridhima, first of all, we must understand that internal, party democracy in India is a misnomer. So you cannot have an election the way municipal elections are held, or assembly or parliament elections are held. It is held in a manner that it suits the political leadership, in this case being the Gandhis. You are absolutely right. The Congress needs a kind of, a Naya Congress kind of work culture and atmosphere and electoral success, because it is electoral success that defines everything.
True.
So as long as, if the Congress starts winning, then everything will look good. Otherwise, all the failure will be at Gandhi's doorstep, whether it is Mr. Kharge or someone else. That is not going to change.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We're getting some breaking piece of developments coming in. A Hong Kong pro-democracy protester was pulled into the Chinese consulate in Manchester and then beaten up. Now, this incident, we're understanding, took place on Sunday. Unidentified men came out of the consulate and forced a man inside the compound before he escaped with the help of police and other demonstrators. The consulate now says protesters displayed an insulting portrait of Chinese president. The Manchester police has also launched an internal investigation. Security analyst and geopolitical analyst Pathikrit Payne now joining us on the broadcast. Pathikrit, good to have you on the broadcast with us. Should one even be surprised?
Well, Ridhima, I'm not surprised by what China does in Hong Kong or in Beijing. But what's surprising is that China does the same thing with impunity in the heart of United Kingdom.
Correct.
And what one wonders as to what has happened to United Kingdom as a country, because a few days back we have seen what happened when a Pakistani mob made some extremely vulgar, provocative indications towards Hindus and the desecration that was made of Hindu symbols. Similarly, in this case also, it is known what China does, and in spite of that, when somebody is protesting in Manchester, he is protesting in the heart of United Kingdom.
Correct.
So he actually has the same rights as any other British citizen. On one hand, United Kingdom, there are these agencies of United Kingdom, the British agencies, who come up and say that they face systemic challenges from China, and at the same time they are literally scared to do any action against Chinese government or Chinese embassy. The contention of the Chinese embassy that he was doing something within the embassy is absolutely not acceptable, because he was dragged inside, and even if he's dragged inside, that territory might be in terms certain respect the Chinese territory in terms of the embassy. That is how it is basically defined, every embassy. But that doesn't mean that somebody killed somebody over there. So frankly speaking, I think the United Kingdom, the British government right now, given the instability they have, they're literally scared to take any action against anybody. They have been, penetrated. The deep state of United Kingdom has been penetrated by Pakistani elements. I think there's a strong possibility the Chinese have strong influence within the deep state of United Kingdom.
Because
also,
look at the pattern that is emerging, Pathikrit, as you rightly pointed out. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had reported about what played out in Leicester. And now this right to protest is the right of any given citizen. If you have an objection to it, there is also a law that falls. But do you want to really take it in your hands where this protester is really bundled up and then thrashed inside the embassy? Somehow, fortunately in this case, he manages to escape and save his life.
Interestingly, Ridhima, when most brutal, provocative and violent protests were being done by the Pakistanis against Indian citizens and Indian Hindu people of Indian origin, that time the British government, the British police did not do anything. On the contrary, when somebody individually was protesting against the Chinese and when he was being beaten up by the Chinese, that time also, surprisingly, the British government did not do anything. So frankly, the reality is, where does United Kingdom stand as a country on the issues of peaceful protest, not violent protest? An individual Hong Konger cannot do violent protest, and he was not doing any act of terror. He was not making any provocative gesture. It was his legitimate right to to actually protest, given what has happened in Hong Kong. Question is, on one hand, the British government says that they want to give citizenship to all the British overseas citizenship to the people of Hong Kong who were erstwhile part of the British overseas region. Today, what has happened is very unfortunate.
Correct.
And it shows the dubious
And it
double
also,
standards of the British government.
absolutely, it not only shows the dubious standards of the UK government, but also the lack of capability of the police officials on the ground. Look at the visuals that we're putting out. This man is dragged from left to right, he's thrashed, and you have police almost as mute spectators, and now the Manchester police is saying, we'll have an investigation. The case has already happened.
Frankly speaking, there is perhaps no standard operating procedure. There is no intelligence input that something like this can happen. We have seen when Khalistani protests happen, when Pakistani protests happen, same time they have turned to mute spectators. It is as if they are operating within China or operating within Pakistan. Frankly speaking, even if the Chinese have done something, in that case, I think the police should have said that, okay, if this person is guilty, hand over that person to us. We will take care of it as per the rules of British government. It seems here it is the Chinese rules which are being applied, not the British rules. That is most surprising thing. Even in any other country, whichever country you talk about, I don't think the Chinese can do something like this and get away. But I'm very sure in this case also, no case will be registered. Nothing will be done against the Chinese, because the British economy today depends so much on the Chinese, imports of British goods and vice versa as well. Because once they have been out of the European Union, they are literally on the tender hook. There is a recession coming, so it's their political infrastructure today is, frankly speaking, crumbling. They have lost, unfortunately, their backbone and the spine, and that's why the reality is reflected here in this way.
Very unfortunate reality that's playing out for all of us. Unfortunately, Patikrita, I will have to leave that conversation there. We'll have to see after this probe is initiated what really comes out. But let's also shift our focus to the other big stories that we are tracking back home. There's a new development as far as the Jayalalitha's death case is concerned. Now you've got the Murughaswamy Commission report that has recommended an investigation into Sasikala's role. It stated that in a 2011 General Council meeting, Jayalalitha had lashed out at Sasikala and said they didn't really have a cordial relationship. They've also recommended that the role of Sasikala's nephew, Sivakumar, and the role of the ex-health minister, C. Vijayabhaskar, should also be examined. Beyond all of this, the role of the Apollo chairman, Pratap Reddy, has also come into question, as the report now says that he provided false statements about Jayalalitha's health condition. Let me also now bring in my colleague Purnima, who's been tracking all these developments for us. So Purnima, I just spoke to about viewers. This has been on for a few years now. It all started in 2012. But as of now, what are the recommendations that have been made?
Well, the Murughaswamy Commission has found fault with V.K. Sasikala, with former Health Minister Vijayabhaskar, former Health Secretary Radhakrishnan, as well as Sasikala's nephew Shiv Kumar, who was also Jayalalitha's personal doctor. So the recommendation to inquire is basically on the following things. One, of course, why wasn't an angio performed when the doctors had recommended that an angio be performed on Jayalalitha? Number two, why was Jayalalitha not shifted abroad? There were discussions that perhaps she could be flown to Singapore for better treatment. Why wasn't she taken abroad? And the third was about the timing of the death. Basically, the report says that while Apollo had, in a press release, said that she breathed her last at 11:30 p.m., witnesses said that she died somewhere between 3:30 and 3:45 p.m. That's also one of the contradictions that the inquiry committee had pointed out and said and found fault with V.K. Sasikala and others who were responsible for taking decisions when Jayalalitha was going through the treatment. Therefore, the committee had now submitted its report. It was tabled in the assembly today. The Tamil Nadu government is now looking at legal routes possible to take this report forward and to see whether they should be summoned for inquiry or not, and the legal hurdles that this report will face if taken seriously by the Tamil Nadu government. So that's something that the Tamil Nadu government is currently exploring.
Okay, Purnima, I'll just request you to stay on with us. We'll require you for our next story as well. Now, amid the row over what southern states are calling as Hindi imposition, you've got Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin, who's now tabled a resolution against Hindi imposition in the state. Now, the resolution urges the centre to not adopt the recommendations of the parliamentary committee, which suggests that Hindi become the medium of instruction in central educational institutions in Hindi-speaking states. The resolution also states that the parliamentary panel recommendations are against the interests of the people and against the two-language policy. Purnima Murli continues to be with us. Purnima, this entire debate of Hindi imposition, what is seen as Hindi imposition in the southern states, is not new. This time around, what are the objections?
Well, this time around, the DMK says that Hindi should not replace English, and that is not constitutionally correct. Number two, Hindi should not be used as a link language. In the country, English so far has been used as a link language. Therefore, why should Hindi now replace English? Hindi cannot be the link language, as 85% of the population cannot speak Hindi as per the DMK claims so far. Therefore, we've seen how there were massive protests over the last 1 week. While the Parliamentary Committee on Official Languages said that Hindi will be used as a medium of instruction only in Hindi-speaking states, even that has not gone down well with the DMK, which is why the BJP now says that the DMK is doing this only to gain political mileage without really understanding what the report has highlighted. But the Tamil Nadu government says that they will continue to impose Hindi, they will continue to fight against Hindi imposition, and the next protest will be in the national capital if the central government yet again imposes Hindi. So far experts say it's only a political and an emotive issue in Tamil Nadu, which is why the DMK time and again continues to intensify anything related to Hindi and language war.
Okay, Purnima Bulli, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We'll keep tracking those developments. For now, we are slipping into a very short break.
Internal, party democracy in India is a misnomer. So you cannot have an election the way municipal elections are held or assembly or parliament elections are held. It is held in a manner that it suits the political leadership, in this case being the Gandhis. You are absolutely right. The Congress needs a kind of, a Naya Congress kind of work culture and atmosphere and electoral success, because it is electoral success that defines everything.
True.
So as long as, if the Congress starts winning, then everything will look good. Otherwise, all the failure will be at, Gandhi's doorstep, whether it is Mr. Kharge or someone else. That is not going to change. The narrative is not going to change. The narrative is about, the Congress failure to win election. As Jairam Ramesh had famously said, this is a side show. The real show will be in Himachal. The real show has got to do with Gujarat and all that, whether the Congress can put up a good performance or not. In fact, all the assembly elections till 2024, Karnataka is next. So whatever Congress does, it will be judged by that, not by these party polls. I mean, you can have a view, but all political parties do not have internal democracy.
Okay. Dr. Onika, so then what really was the intent of the Congress party? And the reason that I'm asking you is in terms of the immediate challenges for whoever wins this election, either Mallikarjun Kharge or Shashi Tharoor, as far as infighting in Rajasthan, state elections, Gujarat, Himachal and the larger picture for 2024. Is the Congress already readying a game plan to tackle those very important and immediate challenges?
Absolutely right. And that's a factor where we all should be working towards it. No denying about that. But ma'am, let the person win. I mean, let's see who wins and who comes forward. Instead of just deciding what he'll become or not, let him take the charge and then a roadmap can be done. Congress always had a future, always had a vision. Unlike the BJP, never had a vision. They talk about the dollar going up and the money.
No, but ma'am, having a vision on paper is fine, but is that vision actually turning into reality is the question that possibly the Congress needs to ask, because in terms of the electoral success, and I agree with the point that Rashid is making, that once the Congress starts getting the electoral success, you will have other things falling into place. Post the loss that they've seen in Punjab, look at an Aam Aadmi party. They're trying to increase their inroads. You already have a very aggressive BJP. They're already getting their top leadership on the ground as far as Gujarat is concerned. What is the Congress doing?
All right. I would like to answer that. You see, ma'am, if they want to play event, if they want to have all the wrong narratives said, so be it. In the long term, this is not what the country is going to gain. I mean, we are right. We are here to win elections. We are not here to give sermons. But having said that, I mean, is it right to just play with the country and with the emotions and putting fake narratives of hate speeches, of not bother about inflation, not bother employment? Is that how you are going to move the country forward? And Nirmala ji goes abroad and says, oh, the dollar is rising. Just imagine the narrative these people are setting.
Let's not mix the topics, Dr. Onika. The day we're discussing about the economy, we'll give an invitation to the Congress party and we'll have a fair discussion. But sticking to the topic that we're discussing, RP Singh, how do you respond to what Dr. Onika is saying, that at least let the election conclude? Why are we already working with hypothetical situations? Let's have a clear winner. 19th is when we'll all know the winner.
We all know who the winner is, we all know what has happened, and we all know the message was already there. It's all through this remote control system the new president would work. As it worked, the Prime Minister worked. Did you ever heard Prime Minister utter a word when Mohsin Singh was the Prime Minister? I mean, files used to go to 10 Janpads. File was cleared by 10 Janpads. We all know that. Everything was done by 10 Janpads. The coterie of the 10 Janpads used to decide what to do, what not to do. Same thing will happen now also. It's not going to change. Only thing is that just putting another pawn instead of another pawn. They tried on Gehlot, who revolted, the local Chhatar revolted against the dynasty. Now they have got another man to represent them. That's all what the Congress is. Ultimately, it's a dynasty which is going to run it. It's two Gandhis and two Vadras who are going to run the Congress. And they will decide what is the future of Congress. But ultimately, what Mr. Kadwai said, they are not getting into electoral politics. Where are they in Gujarat today? Where are they in Himachal today? They're not being seen in Himachal and Gujarat.
Okay. We'll really have to see how this plays out. As I said, 19th is when the Congress party will get a new president and also a non-Gandhi at the helm of the party. Will this actually pave way for change? Only time will tell us. Spokesperson of the BJP, R.P. Singh, continues to be with us. Congress spokesperson Dr. Ronika Mehrotra also now joining us. We have author Advaita Kala also on the panel, and we also have author and senior journalist Rashid Kitwai. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us. Dr. Ronika, let me begin the discussion with you. The Congress from day one has been saying that this is a democratic process. We are a party that respect everybody. It's a fair opportunity that has been given. All that was fine till the time you had various party members and leaders who came out and openly supported Mallikarjun Kharge, indicating that this is somebody who has the backing of the Gandhis and thus is the favourable candidate. Doesn't that then completely negate the entire process of an election?
I fail to understand, if I am supporting somebody or B supporting somebody else, on what grounds can you say that if somebody is backed by so and so? Each delegate has his own secret ballot to vote for, by the way, and each one to his own choice. And the party categorically said, if you want to campaign for a particular candidate, you have to resign from the person who you're free to do it. So each one to his own. I have my own choice, so it's okay. There's no compulsion. So people who are talking about rubber stamp or a backing, let them peep into their perspective first. Let them have a look at what they are doing in the country.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Now, the pothole menace in Bengaluru has claimed another life. Yesterday, a 50-year-old woman was hit by a KSRTC bus while trying to avoid a pothole near Rajaji Nagar, and she is now succumbed to her injuries. The police have arrested the driver of the bus, whose name is Burti Rao. Remember, back in September, the Karnataka High Court had given the Bengaluru civic body, the BBMP, 10 days to fill 221 potholes. The Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has stated that he asked for a full report of the incident and has now ordered the authorities to fill potholes.
ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಕೂಡ ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಾಗಿದೆ ಅದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಸರಿ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ. ಮತ್ತು ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಡೆತ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು. ಅವರು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಂಕ್ವೈರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣವೇ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ತಪ್ಪಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅದಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೆ ನನಗೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ.
ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ಅವರು ಸಾವಿನ ನಮಗೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು KSRTC ಡ್ರೈವರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರಂತೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ.
Sir, in the city, one more life claimed because of the pothole. How do you react to this incident?
See, this is a very classic case of non-governance. When the government is busy with halal, hijab, jhatka, Hindu, Muslim, mandir, masjid, where do they have time to repair the roads, fill up the potholes? This government is shameless, thick-skinned. They have no time to even fill up the potholes. So, and there is no in charge for the city. Chief Minister has no time. An international city cannot have a third-rated administration provided by the BJP government in Karnataka. Today, Bengaluru is safe because we have done 79% of our potable water is being treated now. Wastewater is being treated and made potable. We have done our part. BJP, on the contrary, has controlled BBMP for 15 years. When you don't have governance in place, when people know that this is a 40% commission generating mechanism, not a government, people are fed up. This government will be booted out. This is what I'm very clear. I'm with the people. I understand their sentiments. They are very clear. This government has to go.
Yet another pothole-related accident. A woman identified as Uma, along with a mother, who came under a bus while trying to avoid a pothole near Rajajnagar in Bengaluru. The woman, along with a mother who was travelling in a white Honda Activa, was hit by a KSRTC bus while trying to avoid the exact pothole shown here. Now the police have also put up a barricade in order to prevent further accidents. Despite the High Court pulling up the BBMP in order to resolve this issue, and BBMP itself promising that it would make the Bengaluru roads pothole free, the pothole issue in Bengaluru is yet to be resolved.
We did complain to almost 70 police stations regarding the pothole deaths in the city, and we have been complaining again, and we are been protesting against fixing of the potholes till now. We are seeing every other road is pothole ridden. Not even a single road, not even a 1 kilometer stretch is having a good road. So that is a problem. We demand CM Bommaika resignation immediately.
Let me also now bring in my colleague Harish, who's also been tracking all these developments for us. Harish, the sad reality is that nobody seems to have a sense of urgency. We continue to discuss these issues almost every week, unfortunately, and we'll continue to do so. Even today, we didn't see any BBMP officials on the ground. In fact, what you saw was cops going beyond their call of duty and trying to fill these potholes.
Absolutely, and there is a vacuum in the city's governing structure. We haven't had a BBMP election. We do not have an elected municipal body for the last 2 years. We do not have a city in charge minister, Bangalore Development Minister. The chief minister holds it. We all know that the chief minister has too many things to deal with. And the crucial point, we've seen several such incidents, but we haven't seen any serious action. We haven't seen engineers being booked for culpable homicide. We haven't seen anyone getting dismissed from work. All we have seen is notices being issued or people being transferred. Is it enough for a significant crime like someone losing a life for a mere act of going from one point to another? Should it be a life-threatening one in a city like Bengaluru, which claims to be the IT capital of the country? These are questions that successive governments have failed to answer, and that's the reason we are today seeing more than a dozen deaths every year because of pothole-related incidents.
Correct. Harish, you know, the government time and again comes out and says that, you know, we're serving the area. We've asked for a report. At last time, the chief minister said that I'd asked a report for over 220 potholes. This time around, what is the government saying? Because this is giving a lot of ammunition to the opposition, saying they have misplaced priorities. They only want to focus on polarization. This is a 40% commission state government. How is the state government even defending themselves?
Well, the state government absolutely has no defense here. It's not just pothole-related deaths. Remember, there are several incidents where people are suffering serious injuries, many suffering slip disc, and several such injuries, and that go unreported. But this is something that people suffer on a day-to-day basis. The long traffic snarls because of these potholes, and it's not just one or two zones of the city that's affected. Remember, when it flooded, the state government said, well, it's just 2 zones in Bengaluru that was affected, but this is an issue that affects everyone, whether you're in the core of Bengaluru or the outskirts or anywhere in the 8 zones of the city.
Harish, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We really hope that somebody wakes up and the buck stops and the required people actually take some action. We'll keep tracking those developments. For now, slipping into a very short break. What happened in Greenboom did happen. The High Court in Kolkata has, of course, lambasted your government and the police over the post-poll violence. We are not making this up.
Even in Valmiki Ramayana, it is written that Ravan was Sarva Guna Sampanna. Despite all the knowledge, all the ability that he had no control over his Indriyas. And that's what the Indriyas finally consumed him.
Correct. He wanted something, he wanted it.
Correct.
He didn't think about, yaar, ye dharma hai ki adharma hai?
You can't annex
Ukrainian sovereign territory in a referendum and then bomb missiles across 12 cities, kill about a dozen civilians, and then say, come and talk to us.
Here is someone who's on a mission, here is someone who has vision, and his scope and idea in terms of the small towns of India's to be is very different from what we have seen by leaders in the past.
Already getting their top leadership on the ground as far as Gujarat is concerned. What is the Congress doing?
All right, I would like to answer that. You see, ma'am, if they want to play event, if they want to have all the wrong narratives said, so be it. In the long term, this is not what the country is going to gain. I mean, we are right. We are here to win elections. We are not here to give sermons. But having said that, I mean, is it right to just play with the country and with the emotions and putting fake narratives of hate speeches, of not bother about inflation, not bother employment? Is that how you are going to move the country forward? And Nirmala ji goes abroad and says, oh, the dollar is rising. Just imagine the narrative these people are setting.
Let's
So
not
if this
mix
is what
the
it's going to be.
topics,
No,
Dr.
we're
Onika.
not mixing it.
The day
No,
we're
we're not
discussing about the economy, we'll give an invitation to the Congress party and we'll have a fair discussion. But sticking to the topic that we're discussing, RP Singh, how do you respond to what Dr. Onika is saying, that at least let the election conclude? Why are we already working with hypothetical situations? You know, let's have a clear winner. 19th is when we'll all know the winner.
We all know who the winner is, we all know what has happened, and we all know the message was already there. It's all through this remote control system the new president will work. As it worked, the Prime Minister worked. Did you ever heard Prime Minister utter a word when Mohsin Singh was the Prime Minister? I mean, files used to go to 10 Janpads. File was cleared by 10 Janpads. We all know that. Everything was done by 10 Janpads. The coterie of the 10 Janpads used to decide what to do, what not to do. Same thing will happen now also. It's not going to change. Only thing is that just putting another pawn instead of another pawn. They tried on Galot, who revolted, the local Chhatrav revolted against the dynasty. Now they have got another man to represent them. That's all what the Congress is. Ultimately, it's a dynasty which is going to run it. It's two Gandhis and two Vadras who are going to run the Congress. And they will decide what is the future of Congress. But ultimately, what Mr. Kadwai said, they are not getting into electoral politics. Where are they in Gujarat today? Where are they in Himachal today? They're not being seen in Himachal and Gujarat.
Okay. We'll really have to see how this plays out. As I said, 19th is when the Congress party will get a new president and also a non-Gandhi at the helm of the party. Will this actually pave way for change? Only time will tell us. Spokesperson of the BJP, RP Singh, continues to be with us. Congress spokesperson Dr. Onika Mehrotra also now joining us. We have author Advaita Kala also on the panel, and we also have author and senior journalist Rashid Kitwai. Good to have all of you on the broadcast with us. Dr. Onika, let me begin the discussion with you. The Congress from day one has been saying that this is a democratic process. We are a party that respect everybody. It's a fair opportunity that has been given. All that was fine till the time you had various party members and leaders who came out and openly supported Mallikarjun Kharge, indicating that this is somebody who has the backing of the Gandhis and thus is the favourable candidate. Doesn't that then completely negate the entire process of an election?
I fail to understand, if I am supporting somebody or A or B is supporting somebody else, on what grounds can you say that if somebody is backed by so and so? Each delegate has his own secret ballot to vote for, by the way, and each one to his own choice. And the party categorically said, if you want to campaign for a particular candidate, you have to resign from the post and you're free to do it. So each one to his own. I have my own choice, so it's okay. There's no compulsion. So people who are talking about rubber stamp or a backing, let them peep into their perspective first. Let them have a look at what they are doing in the country and what havoc they are playing around with. They are talking about rubber stamp and elections and selection. What are they doing there, ma'am? We have a record. We have a record of 137 years, ma'am. And everything is clear. You've seen how many people have contested. And I'm told the sixth time there have been election, who's contested and who's won. And it goes on. And anything, what is constant.
The only question that I'm raising, and I'm not. Welcome back. CNN News 18's Arunama spoke to Interpol Secretary General on the security paradigm over the Russia-Ukraine war and New Delhi's pleas for intervention over Khalistani separatists. I'm leaving you with this conversation. Thanks a lot for watching.
Whether to allow Russia to be part of Interpol or not is something that will be on the table when 195 countries and their delegates meet for the 90th General Assembly?
No, I mean, we are also discussing our international police cooperation in light of this conflict.
But this is also an issue?
In light of this conflict.
Right.
And of course, but again, Interpol's principle is neutrality, it is independence. We are a technical police organization. We have to focus on that part. And to leave politics for the politicians.
Right.
But we need to discuss impact, we need to discuss to which extent, for instance, criminals can exploit any crisis around the world. But of course, it's specifically important, of course, to stay to these principles, especially when member countries are in a conflict with each other. Of course, more than ever important to stick to the basic principles of Interpol.
Let me draw your attention to something that has been raised as a matter of concern ahead of this General Assembly, which is the issue of somebody who's been proscribed as a terrorist. The name is Gurpatwant Singh Pannoon. He's associated with an organization called Seek for Justice. Indian police organizations, including our National Investigation Agency, which deals with terrorism, has requested the Interpol for a red corner notice against him. And very recently, we have learned that Interpol has refused to issue that. Now, if you could set the record straight as to why this has happened, because a lot of people here in India are making all kinds of allegations, including saying that this is the hypocrisy of the West, that you don't really care for our terror concerns, us in the third world.
Yeah, I mean, I ask for your understanding that I cannot comment on individual cases, but the principle is, again, that Interpol has a kind of limited mandate. It is strictly forbidden for the organization to enter into any activity that might have an overwhelming, predominantly military, political, religious or racial content or meaning. We have to strictly stay away from that. And that sometimes leads to the fact that we decline a request from member countries for cooperation. I understand that that sometimes frustrates member countries, but it's important. That is the basic principle and part of the success story of Interpol, that we all respect that limited mandate, which doesn't mean that any decision for Interpol not to be engaged in a case is a judgment on the merit of a case or any decision taken by a court. No, that is not our business, but we have to check the compliance with our rules. Again, Interpol has a limited mandate, ordinary law crime, that is our focus, and anything else, member countries can use other channels if they need international police cooperation, others than Interpol, but that is the limited mandate which we have to respect, and this is part why, despite all the geopolitical difficulties during the last decades, Interpol was only growing because this principle was respected.
But I hear from Indian government sources that in this particular case, they could go in for an appeal. Does the Interpol constitution allow countries to go in for an appeal? Should Indian agencies be hopeful that in this case also an appeal could be met favorably?
I mean, we have a certain mechanism, of course, in place that member countries can be heard. We have a mechanism in place also that subjects of a notice, for instance, can reach out to an appeals body and can challenge the decision taken by Interpol to publish a notice. That framework exists and, of course, is being used. Yes, of course.
Good evening. The stray dog population menace has hit our cities once again, this time in Noida, which is in the Delhi National Capital Region, where a stray dog mauled and killed a 7-month-old baby inside a posh gated community. The child happens to be the child of a labourer who works in that compound, while residents of the community, some of them are visibly angry, as are ordinary residents of Delhi NCR. The question is also, if this were not a poor man's kid, wouldn't there have been outrage on the streets? Also, when will dog lovers accept the reality that some dogs are simply too dangerous and there is no place in a civilized society where a human being is killed at the hands of a rabid dog? But first, the story so far.
Massive protests in an apartment complex in Noida after a 7-month-old was mauled to death by a stray dog. The infant's parents are labourers